times are so close together, and I've been watching A-Boy do some no reset streams, and he's been getting some like mid-19s pretty consistently. Oh, and we have a go.
We're going. Yep.
I don't even get to finish that sentence because here we are in Metal Man stage, and both players going for the frame jump or the pixel jump or the whatever jump. You can skip that first enemy and jump over, but it's really tight. Like, I've only gotten it a bunch of times.
Yeah, you can slide through it and using the deboost mechanic, so we can talk about that first. So players will be using the slide feature before hitting into enemies and obstacles, as you see right now with the crushers and the moles. This is so they can deboost through without suffering any knockback. This stage is not easy right off the bat. It's one of the most difficult sections of this game.
Yeah, I'd say this is the most difficult stage. And as you said, like, the slide is unique in this game in that it allows you to cancel the knockback animation. As long as you're in the slide, the frames will count down for the knockback animation inside the slide. So ideally, you can, like, if you do a frame perfect slide into an enemy, you can skip the animation altogether. And here we see crazyapeboy getting a small drop. The players will need 5 health to get a glitched Metal Man fight here, and both players are a bit. Oh, and there is that magic drop. So crazyapeboy will be doing the Metal Man glitch, which and HARDselection taking a hit there. Do you want to explain the Metal Man glitch?
Yeah, so to explain it quickly, because it's fast, using a series of jumps and slides and shooting, you can trick Metal Man to jump outside of the actual battle screen into the wall and clip. And as long as you don't go too close to him, oh, that was close, A-Boy could have released him. He'll be stuck in there. Meanwhile, HARDselection is trying to farm some health. There is a setup for the one to take 1 HP. There, he got it. So it wasn't too bad of a farm.
Yeah, and it looks like he had some sub HP. Like, this game doesn't, the math isn't really secure. So he had 2 health and he got a small health drop and actually got 3 health out of that. That's because there are half HPs or half life points in this game. It's really weird, and it matters like by what enemy you're hit. Like, some enemies will do 2.5 hit point damage, but you won't be able to see that on the life gauge as it only displays full life points. And a cool thing about the Metal Man glitch is he tries to jump to the right and there's just no space. So he wants to go like out of the space, and he ends up getting stuck in the wall, making the fight ridiculously easy. Like, the fight isn't terribly hard to begin with, but this just makes it so much faster.
For sure. So as you were explaining, that crazyapeboy started Woodman stage, the second stage. So we introduced the Metal Blade. Yeah, he's going for the top. The Metal Blade is OP in this game. Can shoot in multiple directions. You have lots of ammo. It's pretty powerful. You'll be seeing players abuse it throughout the entire run.
Yeah, and ideally you would want to space out your Metal Blades here so that you can hit some of these robots as they appear on screen. But it's pretty. It takes some work to figure that out. But it's and here we see. Yes, and both players got that dog skip. That dog takes 16 hits of Metal Blades. It's absurd. And HARDselection also going for top route. And what he did there is, like, you turn around, so Mega Man is knocked back into to the right direction, and that allows you to slide through the dog without taking additional damage.
So we've seen the wood fight pretty quickly there. So the cool thing about Woodman and this one compared to the NES is if you time your blade at the right spot, you can actually squeeze it between the 2 leaves that he has turning around him. So you can actually hit him even before he shoots it away. You can actually kill him before he releases it, but it's pretty hard.
Yeah, I've seen somebody, I've seen Andy pull it off like a lot of the time, but I've only gotten it like a couple of times, so I usually just slide into him, take damage, and just take damage twice and shoot 4 shots, like I think we're gonna see from HARDselection here. That's pretty much the my strat. Now here on the right we have crazyapeboy doing some slides and reverse damage boosts. So at the end of the slide, if you turn around, Mega Man will still have that small piece of knockback animation, but he will be heading in the direction you want to go. So this is why reverse damage boosting is very handy in this game. as it allows you, like, it doesn't work like on Mega Man 2 on the NES, where the projectile's direction determines which direction you'll be knocked back into. Like in this game, Mega Man, the direction Mega Man is facing will determine which way you're being knocked back.
We're seeing Ape-Boy get about a half-stage lead already into Airman. That's pretty considerable concerning the talent of these two runners, but it's, as we know, one mistake just shifts everything around.
Yeah, that's very true, but the majority of the lead that he has built up was because HARDselection was forced or chose to not go for the classic metal strat and decided to farm some life energy drops, which did not come very fast, unfortunately for him.
So the Airman fight, quite simple. So you shoot one leaf while walking forward, which will hit him twice, and then you kind of just dash into his hitbox and shoot a second one.
Yeah, it's one of the freest fights in the game, given that you have at least 2 wood shields to use.
Yeah, you always hope for a small drop to not worry about that. It looks like HARDselection switched to Buster just to conserve that ammo because he didn't get the drop.
Yeah, the switching of menus like cost maybe 1 or 2 seconds, but if you had to do the backup strat for Airman, which uses the Buster, you would have to hit him 4 or 5 times with the Buster, and that would sink you about 4 seconds. So I can understand why you would want to conserve some leaf shield. Like ultimately, it still loses less time to use Buster in the stage than on Airman.
Looks like you had enough, but either way, I think players at this point will go with what they've learned throughout the tournament. Meanwhile, Ape-Boy on the right is starting the Clash Climb. It is one of my favorite stages, although the Rush Jet, which is introduced this stage, is a little janky. You can kind of just walk off it. I think players are good enough that they have control at this point. So there's a lot of up and down, a lot of rush use. Pretty fun.
Yeah, it's like I also really like the music of this game, and I even make, like, I don't know if you know those dancing games. I made a step chart with arrows on the beat of this Clashman stage because I just love this song. And the thing is, like, you saw Crazy Ape-Boy grabbing that first energy tank here, and if you jump on Rush the moment he spawns, you will slide off instead of like moving around on him. And he found out, or he came up with the idea to use Rush to get that first energy tank, and we call that Bad Dog. Like, because you don't want to, normally you would want him to move around, but in that instance, for getting that energy tank, it's actually about a second faster to get Bad Dog there. This game is so cool. It has such niche, small, in-depth tricks and stuff.
This game has went long ways, even just throughout this tournament. We see the Clash fight here, probably the hardest boss fight, I would say, in the game.
Very clean fight
maybe
there.
Wily.
Yeah, Clashman is definitely like the battle most players are struggling. Most people struggle with. We even saw Andy die on Clashman, so if that doesn't mean it's the hardest boss, I don't know what does. And HARDselection also going into Clashman here, and let's hope he gets as clean a fight as Ape-Boy just did.
It looks like about this. I wouldn't be surprised if HARDselection actually made up a bit of time here. It's hard to say because it's a longer fight.
Oh, this is and he opting to go for a more classic approach.
That was a great, like, he could have died easily there. That was a great adaptation.
Yeah, he could have taken 1 more Clash Bomb damage. Like, Clash Bombs only do 2, but if he had taken body damage from Clashman, that would have done 4 damage and he would have died. So it's a very good idea to just use the classic strat of sliding under Clashman. Just to make sure you don't die on that boss, because dying is such a time sink. And here we see Crazy Ape-Boy using some metal blades to kill some of those mag flies. Ideally, you save like a second by killing them, but it also makes the jumps a little bit easier, I think. Like they pull you up a bit and it messes up your momentum.
And if it's your first time watching this tournament or this game, you will notice that Mega Man is not typically a Mega Man 2 and boss, but a Mega Man 3. So the Mega Man Game Boy series has tradition of including 4 robots of the current edition that you're playing and 4 robots from the next. So we'll see Magnet here as the first Mega Man 3 boss.
Yeah, Mega Man's like this fight can be pretty easily scripted because he almost always does this exact same thing. I don't know if it's RNG or movement based or when you hit him with the metal blade, but there is a small chance he can go into the magnet pool modes, which is where he has a shield around him, you can't hit him, and he attracts you to him. And let's hope the players don't get that, because that can cost up to up to 4 seconds, I think.
Yeah, so the way that works is when he's hopping around and he typically jumps up, if you're too close to him, he'll do his shield as a protection instead. So you want to follow him to a certain point and then turn around, otherwise he'll do the jump up.
That's a very nice metal fight. Not perfect, but it's really close.
Ideally, you want to kill him at the top right. You can kill him before then, but it requires precise movement and shooting.
Yeah, perfect. Like close to perfect is before he lands on the right side, and like the proximity to the Magnet Man is actually not a guarantee for him to pull out the Magnet Shield or not. So it's not based on that. It's very specific. Like Apeboy and I have been testing it out quite a bit, and still, like I really want to make a test of this game and delve into the data so I can figure out how this boss works, like completely.
Either way, you were right though. It looks like there's a consistent lead between the two. Like it's really just the Metal Man that really separated these two guys. So we have a much tighter race than it might seem here. Like one mistake from Apeboy and they should be really close again.
Yeah, and Apeboy here going for the magnet only strat. So usually, like I still switch to Rush Coil here. And Andy came up with a strat just yesterday or the day before where you can kill one of the apes with 4 magnets, but this makes the Hardman fight incredibly riskier. Like if you miss one shot on Hardman, you have to switch to Buster there. So Crazy Apeboy has decided to not kill that ape and just go for the rushless hard stage, which without the ape kill I think loses about half a second. It might not. I haven't measured it completely. But Hardman is one of the easier bosses together with Topman, Woodman, and Airman. So we're gonna see a really quick, and he's gone. Wow, that was a really nice Hardman fight.
That was good. So yeah, you do, if you're low on HP, which often happens, the way the route is done here, you want to take damage from his hands if you need to, because they only do 2 damage as opposed to 4 if you body hit.
Yeah, and like even though it may seem risky, like having low HP, this boss battle is so easy that the chance of dying is really low. I don't think we have seen players die, or if it has been very few deaths at Hardman.
Do you have your phone? It's time to call 1-800-RUSH-MARINE.
Yeah, Rush Machine is so nice, just cruising. Like you can see, like he got hit by 2 hands and he only took 2 damage, so the hands only do 1 damage. And up here on the right, the Crazy Apeboy is about to do the first frame perfect zip. I hope he gets it. Oh, and he misses it. That's the first opportunity for a hard knuckle zip, which is basically using a hard knuckle on the frame the screen transitions, and that will allow you to skip a vertical segment, so a vertical screen like we see here. And if he gets this, oh, he doesn't get the second zip. So if he gotten the second zip, he would already be down here at the end of the ladder.
This will allow HARDselection an opportunity to close the gap if he nails some of those. Any little seconds that he can get right now counts because the game is going through fast.
Yeah, and the first zip saves about 4 seconds, I think. I usually lose 4 seconds if I... but that second zip, that... Oh, and HARDselection, get it. That was the frame perfect zip. So that's nice. That's the first 4-second gain from HARDselection right there. And let's see if he gets the second... And he does get it. So that's a total of 6+ seconds that HARDselection just made up. So that's great. Meanwhile, Crazy Apeboy finishes off Topman in a 1 cycle, which is the ideal. Like, you always want to get that 1 cycle on Topman. Exiting Topman stage with a time of 14:06, 14:07. So we're going to use that to compare it to HARDselection's time.
Some people some runners often forget that when you shoot your first knuckles at top, you have to delay or back up for the third one, otherwise his tops that come out will knock it away.
Yeah, so you want to pause after the second one for just a couple of, like half a second, otherwise the shot will be deflected off the tops he fires, and as long as a hard knuckle is on screen you can't fire another one. So yeah, this is why like it's not really hard to mess up, but if you haven't trained with it, like that's a mistake, an easy mistake to make, and it can cost up to, I think, 3 or 4 seconds.
Sure. We see 8boy here on Needleman stage. I would say this is the stage that probably takes the longest to master and get good at. There's a lot of obstacles, a lot of rush jet use, which you need through the rest of the game, so you need to watch your ammo. A lot of damage. You have to use an E-tank most of the time that you've collected earlier. I believe both players collected 2 in Clash.
And 8boy going for that LP zip. I came up with it just recently, and it basically guarantees that you can reach the top of the next screen without rush jet and get that large weapon refill. Oh, that's a nice Hammer Joe kill. And
yeah, not only is it faster, runners used to struggle getting that lucky drop to get extra hard knuckle in the for the Wily stages, which we'll see very shortly. But with that new zip, thanks to the runners discovering that, we don't have to worry about that anymore.
Yeah, it was. I was just messing around with these zips, and this was like this is probably the biggest new find of Mega Man 2 Game Boy. Like, and he was really hyped about it, and he's already beaten like his own world record by 4 seconds. So it's really really cool to see people use this zip. And I think HARDselection also got the up zip, which some people confuse with the LP zip, but I didn't discover the up zip. It was already in Tremaine's and Matrias' task from like 3 years ago or 2 years ago. And the cool thing about the up zip is that it skips a ladder. Oh, and HARDselection taking a death, but it also allows you to skip another a whole screen transition. So we call that the up zip double bonus. So the up zip, getting the up zip, even if you don't set it up, ideally it's still a pretty big time save. I think 4 to 6 seconds, maybe 8. I'm not completely sure. And for top spin to do damage to Needleman, you basically always have to get hit. So it's very difficult to use that weapon properly on this boss. It's not as good as a Mega Man 3.
He was full and half his health was just gone in a second. It's crazy how much damage Needle can do.
Yeah, Needleman has such... Like, Needleman is probably like... is one of those big chances to die. Like, aside from pits and stuff, I'd say the biggest death chances are Clashman, Needleman, and maybe Wily 1 if you're cutting it really close and he ends up jumping on top of you. But I'd say Clashman and Needleman are the toughest bosses in this game.
So 8boy missed the 2 primary zips, but he still has lots of ammo to do the other ones. Looks like they'll just go with the safe traditional
final
ones.
frame perfect zip, but that's okay because the ladder backup zip is just around the corner, so it's not... That last one isn't the biggest deal, but yeah, you basically, for every screen transition at the start of the game, or those 2 screen transitions, you have a chance to get a frame perfect zip. But frame perfect 1/60th of a second is just it's rough. Like, nobody gets those consistently. So
I mean, it's almost task level stuff, and a lot of these players land more than they don't. Like, it's pretty incredible how accurate they are. We'll see if HARDselection can land any of them. This would be his chance to close up a little bit of gap because we are running out of time here for game.
Oh my god!
Oh, commentator's curse, kind of.
Wow. Oh, that's rough. We really see those nerves getting to HARDselection there. Missing just just missing out on the jump.
I think he's feeling the pressure of knowing he needs to make something. He probably feels like he's behind. I think he's good enough to know who his opponent is and his limits. Alright, so we got the Wily file already with 8boy, so he's got 3 phases. The first phase you use Rush just to be at his height of his capsule to do some damage. That was really good. I think that was a 1 jump.
Oh yeah, that was a really clean Wily 1 fight. And for the second Wily fight, we used Sakugarn, the pogo stick that we got him from Quint, one of the fastest bosses in the game. Like, we blinked and he was gone. And for the third phase, you just use the Buster and try to get in those tight double hits. And you have to space out your shots. Like, the first shot has to hit kind of early if you want the second shot to hit. And the second shot has to be kind of late. So if you don't space out your shots like that, here you can see the shots going through. That's because the timing is really tight for the double hits to connect.
He's got about
And
one in every
GG to
game.
HARDselection with a split time of 1945. What's his SRL time?
SRL time is official 1946.
Nice. GG to crazyapeboy for round 1. And HARDselection wrapping up with Dr. Wily in his ostrich form. Let's see if he can get... Oh, and he almost gets the high jump. Or when... Oh, and that's also one jump. Nice. So both of these players doing really great.
Confident with their skills that they could do it.
Yeah. Like, this motivates me to work on my Wily 1, because my Wily 1 is absolute garbage. Like, I've been doing so bad on that fight. Like, I've recently found... Yeah, that's the trick. So basically, you want Wily to be on the right side, so he doesn't have to transition so much. And HARDselection just demonstrated what I was about to explain. So you have to bounce on Sakugan on a specific way to get him to move left and then immediately move back right again. If you do it wrong, he'll move even further to the left, and that will sink like anywhere up to 6 to 7 seconds or something. And GG to HARDselection.
Your HARDselection official time in SRL 2054. So about just over a minute in between the players. But considering the farming in metal, the death in Needle, and the death in Wily, like the time is right there for them to be neck and neck.
Yeah, like without those deaths and the energy farming, this race would have been absurdly close. And it already was a pretty close race. Like, it's only a minute apart with those pretty huge time sinks. So I'm very, very curious about this next race.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty excited for game 2. I would be pretty excited for game 3 as well. Like, if there's a match that will go to game 3, could very well be this one. But yeah, we already got a good taste of how capable these runners are. Very, very clean race by HARDselection. Nothing, he didn't land like all the big zips and things like that, but he just didn't make any mistakes that cost him anything.
Yeah, so you see, like, you don't even need to get like the zips to get a sub 20, but still getting sub 20 is still like, it's such a great accomplishment, especially in a race. I know how nervous these players are, so I think they're doing great. And I'm kind of hoping HARDselection wins this next race, so we get another race. I'm so for content.
Yeah, my 2055 is not holding out so much anymore. Everybody has progressed so much. I think I dropped to like 17th on the leaderboard or something.
Yeah, but you haven't been like, I haven't seen you play this game like or grind it for a bit. I've only seen you play Mega Man 5 or 4. I think I saw some streams of that.
Yeah. Well, my goal is to run 1 to 5 in a single way,
nice.
So I've been splitting my focuses, but I plan to run it soon to make it better for sure.
Yeah, you gotta step up your game, man. I don't know when your next race is, but I highly advise just getting in some grinding, like just a day or two, just spend some hours with this, some quality time with this game, and yeah, prepare yourself. Prepare yourself.
Looks like the racers in SRL are getting ready again. Is there anything you want to add about game 1 before we jump into this one?
No, it was just really, really nice. It was like we got to see a lot of zips, a lot of different shreds as well. It was great. It was exciting. It was everything I hoped for and more. So I'm hoping, I'm pretty sure game 2 will be very similar to this.
Yeah. Shout out to John Carls, who is with us in the chat. John Carls has decided to bring forth this idea of a Mega Man 2 tournament and getting through with speed gaming and getting this done. It was really awesome of him, and it's always nice to see Game Boy in the spotlight. They deserve more love than they get.
Yeah, that's definitely true. This game is so underrated, and still is like, I was really surprised at the amount of players that this game has. I think it has, like, on the leaderboard it has around 50 players now, and like I was always under the impression that this game got pretty bad rep due to its music. But so I was really pleasantly surprised by the level of enthusiasm of John Carls and the players of this community. Like, this might have this community is so great. We're already having so much fun discovering new strats, just talking about the game. Yeah, it's just great.
Yeah, for sure. I think what irritates people is you can kind of hear this little high-pitched sound. For what people may not know is Capcom outsourced this game to a third-party company for creation. So they weren't the ones who composed most of this game, even though they hold the trademark for it. So maybe the difference in sound use between the two have just made people more sensitive to the sound, but there's also some soundtracks online of people who reworked it to what the other games feel like, so you can get a taste of what it is. And when you listen to both of them, you feel like the soundtrack is kind of already pretty good for how the game came out. Like I don't know if I would put the reworked ones into the game anymore. I kind of like the original now.
I think the compositions of this game are really strong. There are some really unique patterns or like rhythms or stuff in this game that we don't really see in any other 8-bit game. Like the pitch may be a little high for some people, not for me, but for most. But there are some, like there's a 250 BPM drill in the victory. And that's, I've never even, like, there are not a lot of games who use such experimental things. And I think especially like Metal Man and Clash Man, I think the Clash Man of this game far outsoars the NES counterpart. I mean, I like the NES version because it's like, it has a nice flow, but this one's like, this has melody. Like this game has such, great compositions. So I can never get enough of this soundtrack.
Yeah, for sure. Looks like the runners are now getting the countdown into the race, so we should see that on screen in about 10-15 seconds.
All right. And I think it should be noted that both players are playing on the European version of this game, which has very minor game design advantages over the Japanese and US versions. As in Airman, the big goblin faces, they have little drills on the side coming up. And on the European version, they come up slower, which allows for easier movement across them. And in the Top Man stage, after the first zip, there's a long corridor. And there are two medals on like these big things, and you can slide under the second one in the European version, but not in the other versions.
And we're off game 2, guys. Let's do this. We'll see how HARDselection adapts. Like, I don't know if he's gonna.
Oh, and he got the jump, right? Did he get the jump?
Yeah, he's got about I don't know. He's got a maybe half a screen lead already.
Oh, nice. This is excellent. Game 2 hype.
Let's see if he does better. He had to wait quite a bit in the crushers for incorrect D-boost inputs in the first. Looks like he's doing really well this time. The setup looks exactly like it should. Yeah, he's getting a bit of a lead. HARDboy having a bit of a trouble now. Has to be super careful. If he takes another hit from the mold, that means he'll die. So reverse fortunes for game 2. Lady Luck switching things to even.
Yeah, so that might get our hope. Like, I'm getting my hopes up for round 3 right here.
And we didn't talk about ladders. We probably should, because this first section has a lot of ladders that has ended runs and resets. I'm sure you're aware of it. So when ladders in this, both players are doing really well on HP. I think we'll have a tight metal finish in this case. They'll just kind of barrel through everything.
HARDboy can do all the damage zip now, so that gives him a little chance to catch up. Well, still 122 and 126 at Metal Door. That's still pretty good. But you want to talk about ladders. I personally haven't had a lot of troubles with them. I know there's some specific things like on Hardman, there's several top parts of a ladder stacked on top of each other. So if you use Rush Jet and jump on them, you're actually not able to go up the ladder. I know that if you hold the diagonal input or hold left and right while climbing a ladder, you won't be able to go up or down. I don't know if there's anything else about that.
Well, I don't need to talk about them anymore. You just covered everything. So yes, there is the ladder piece. In some places they're glitched and considered a stepping block. So you actually just step on them instead of climbing. And of course the diagonals won't climb ladders, which is pretty frustrating in a few spots. But fortunately, most places you can either coil the ladder or just go down instead.
Yeah, and we had some weapon screen sync going on there. So every race where we have weapon screen sync, like that always gets me really hyped up. Like,
yeah, so let's hope it holds up until the Wily fight.
Yeah, let's hope it does. And here we see these robots really giving the business. So ideally you would not want to take any damage, because any damage you take makes taking the top route in Wood harder. And using Rush Marine instead of the top route costs about 3 seconds. And we see HARDselection going for that, while crazyapeboy has the enough life energy to go for the top route. So
we'll get a nice image here of what actually happens. All of the first round.
Oh my god, that was so tight. So my heart skipped a beat right there.
That was probably the nice photo, like the best photo demonstration of top versus bottom route. Now they're even though apeboy was a screen behind at the time of starting the screen.
Yeah, and he's ahead for like half.
Somebody should clip that.
Yeah, somebody should definitely clip that. But did you see, like, at the end of apeboy's top, like he damage boosted through the third needle from the last, and he was just barely getting that invincibility out from under the third needle. So that was like I really thought he was gonna die there. And some explosion sync here going on.
Both going for the exact same fight, just kind of getting into the hitbox inside the shield and trying to land as many blades as possible.
Yeah, that's my default too. I think it's the best strat if you're not comfortable using the outer hitbox strat, which I'm calling it now. I'd say this is the best opportunity not to waste too much time. Just take some damage, get some hits in, take more damage, get some more hits in. And we have some stage... Oh man, these syncs. I love this.
The top route is the only difference separating them right now. This is what we expected, honestly. Like this HARDselection is probably the player that progressed the most in this tournament. You as well, Elpis, but I think HARDselection was the big trump card, or the major surprise so far.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Like I already, like just before the tournament started, I already got like a low 20, but HARDselection still had like a 24 or 23. So I only grinded it down by about a minute. The HARDselection really worked it down, but it's really nice. Like crazyapeboy, HARDselection, and me are all like in the low 19 range, and I've seen like all of us are just getting pretty consistently like sub 20 times. So any race between it is going to be like this, I think. Unless like the only reason the first race wasn't as tight as this was because of the Metal Man stage and the deaths, but otherwise the race one would have been exactly like this, I'm pretty sure.
All that we have separating is a boss corridor. So let's talk about Airman really quickly, because it'll be done before I'm done.
Actually, that was Airman, so that was a really cool conversation we just had about him. GG, well played and stuff. No, but the Airman's basically a really free boss battle. Some people talk about patterns, but I don't really get that, as I rarely ever miss the second hit. So what I do is everyone walks towards him and shoots the first leaf shield. It'll connect twice, and as it's connecting twice, you slide into him, and as you're inside Airman, you can press B, and the leaf shield will always connect with Airman, guaranteeing that fastest kill.
Well, this time we're starting a clash climb with both players on the same screen, so this will be interesting, because the clash climb is very execution heavy with the rush jet, which is introduced for the first time here.
This is so close. Oh man, oh wow. Like literally like half a screen apart, maybe less. So let's see who gets what energy tank. Oh, they both get the Clash one, which is the optimal backup energy tank. Like I've timed all the energy tanks, and the one in Needle costs about 3.5 seconds. The one in Hard, which I used to get, costs 3. The one in Magnet may also cost 3.5, maybe even 4. The first one in Magnet, the second one I haven't even timed because it's so many extra screen transitions. Oh, and look at this. Oh my god. This is so...
HARDselection's actually making up some time here. We can see that live. I find that's impressive. Yeah. Like, usually you kind of try to estimate it. With how close they are, you can actually see every little mistake. And like you see a little slip up there from hard selection, and 8boy just gets that little half-screen lead again.
And, wow, they're just getting some really good times to get to Clashman, and yeah. So here comes the Determinator of Runs, the hardest boss in the game.
Yeah. So one thing we didn't mention in the game 1 is the Clashman fight is the only boss with an offside weakness, meaning it only gets 2 damage from the shots instead of 4 or even more in some cases.
Like those like I'm sorry, we can continue this in a bit, but those were some really sick Clashman fights and some really interesting strats from crazyapeboy. I had not seen those before, so really cool. I'm sorry, you were saying.
I'm at a loss for words. Like,
oh yeah, the weakness thing. Like,
we gotta talk to Fiesel. Maybe he's clipped the same game twice. I don't know.
Like, Clashman's weakness is not the best, which is why I used to start with Clashman first, because the difference in Buster to Air Shot isn't as big. But the Rush Jet part in that stage is so big that you have to do Airman before Clashman. But it's actually possible to hit Clashman twice with one air shooter, but it's so hard to get that. I've only gotten it by accident, and it's just the worst. So Airman definitely having the worst weakness, or Airman having the worst weapon to weakness ratio in this game. Like, every other boss weapon works great, but Airman's does garbage damage on Clashman.
Both players opting to shoot at Wily, so in the cutscene, when the floor breaks, you can. Yeah,
they're shooting at him because he doesn't wiggle his eyebrows, which is the biggest crime this game has ever committed. Because Wily needs to wiggle those eyebrows. That's his thing. That's what he does.
This is probably the stage that took me personally the longest to not die and reset in. There's a lot of damage strats, a lot of ammo as well. You have to watch out your blades, not to overuse them because you need them, and your Rush Jet, of course.
Yeah. So this is why we see like the players jump, like they do a little bunny hop dance on top of Rush Jet, because they want to conserve that weapon energy, as this game treats the second set of Robot Master stages as the Wily stages, in that it doesn't refill weapon energy. Much like on the Wily stages of the NES versions.
Yeah, and if you're used to the NES version, you would have seen those Rush Jet hopping strats on Mega Man 3.
Yeah, I think a lot of ideas from Mega Man 3 were carried over in this game, which makes sense, as it's basically half Mega Man 2 and half Mega Man 3.
Hard selection can only take 1 hit here, so they'll have to be careful.
And we get a really nice fights from both players, both finishing him in the top right corner. Very nice. And both getting a sub 1030 time on Airman. Mega Man, wow. We're losing my mind here. Wow, look at this. Wow, this sync.
Yeah, and judging their splits, both players are only like 3 to 5 seconds from PvP. So like what you're seeing is just about as good as they can do.
Yeah, but the real like determinating stuff still, like if any one player gets a bunch of zips and the other one doesn't, it's gonna be sick.
Yeah, you can give hard selection the upper hand for game 1 on the zip.
Definitely.
I'm sure 8boy will definitely try right now.
Yeah, and I don't think 8boy is too comfortable with the up-zip in Needleman stage, so I don't think he'll go for that, but I've seen hard selection going for that all the time. It's still dependent on getting a small weapon energy drop. It's basically the only RNG left in this game, except maybe the moles in Metalman stage, if those are RNG at all to begin with. I have no idea. I don't think so, actually. I think it's based on movement, but whatever. Anyway, here is some different usage of strats. Like, you can use Rush Coil, but like Andy says, it might actually be slower, or it is slower because you have to wait for Rush Coil to come down. So you think it's faster because you don't have to move up the ladder that slow, but you still have to wait for Rush Coil. So
you can see it's really based on comfort at this point. Like, you can see how players are just as close and they use the different strat. So we got some people asking in chat what their PBs is. So crazyapeboy's PB is 1916. Well, hard selection is a 1922, so the PBs don't even matter in this race.
And both getting a pretty similar Hardman fight here. So, like, this is a neck to neck on neck. I don't know how to say that, but it's such a close race. Like, this is the closest of any of the races, I think, so far, and this is exactly what I expected.
So I know that hard selection splits at the weapon get screen, which he was about 1 second behind before the split turned red. So he's on PB pace or even.
All right, and now we get to see Top Man stage, which is where the first zips will take place. Only one of these zips is frame perfect. The other two are pretty free, as when you're on a ladder on like the lower section of the screen, and you can just press A and B at the same time, and you'll probably there's a 99% chance you'll zip. It's very slight. If you have to be really. Oh, and 8boy gets a zip, and hard selection doesn't. So that's another slight advantage for 8boy right there. And there's the first ladder zip, and the second ladder zip is a bit harder. And he misses it being a little bit too high. So ideally you want to you see Mega Man's his underpants, the pixels of his underpants. If those are off screen, if you can't see those anymore, then you're pretty sure the zip will work. But if you're too high, you'll just end up wasting a hard knuckle and falling down. Not the biggest deal here, but still 2 or 3 seconds lost there, which is good for hard selection.
And one thing I want to point out, when hard selection got to the little hopper enemy in the last horizontal section, he actually shot his leaf shield downwards, and that's so that it releases off the screen quicker, so he can shoot another one at the next enemy faster. So that's really smart usage. Yeah, and also something recently discovered, I believe.
Yeah, I don't know. I came up with using leaf shield there, but somebody else came up with shooting leaf shield down, and I was like, oh man, that's really smart. I gotta do that, because if you shoot it to the right, you have to wait for the next Komasuburo or whatever that enemy is called that spits out the tops. But if you shoot it to the right, so you have to wait a bit, but it also gives you a chance for 2 drops instead of 1. So there's something to say for both those threats. It depends on whether you want to have a chance for another small drop, which hard selection just got but ignored.
Yeah, he actually got some in the top. Yeah, he switched in top, so that's the only. Oh, he went for the top zip,
and he got that up zip in one go. That's the only person I've seen doing it as smooth as that, or is Andy. He came up with the smoothest way to set up those zips. And here we see hard selection just pulling it off like it's nothing, and that was an amazing up zip. You can really see his practice on that zip paying off right there. And there's the double bonus. So there's an extra screen transition that he just didn't have to do because he got the up zip, which is another great chance for him to catch up.
Both players opting to go for the ladder zip and
we have, oh my god, and we have a lead change here, as 8boy decided to be a little more secure on the big needles. Whereas hard selection
did not get into the crusher, so he just lost it again. Oh no, it's still a little bit ahead.
And wow, explosion sync again.
The only difference in that fight is hard selection finished a little bit more in the middle, so you get a couple extra tenths of seconds over 8boy there.
Yeah, it's like we saw there that at the end of the Elpis zip, hard selection had a pretty smooth transition to the left, and 8boy didn't. So that's where this I think it's a 1 second difference maybe.
Yeah. So Chad is asking what time you saved doing the new needle zip at the end. Do you have that data?
You mean the LP zip, the final one?
Yeah, correct.
Well, I'm not completely sure how much time it saves, but it like you mentioned on the first race, it removes part of the RNG needed for hard knuckle refill. So that's actually the biggest deal, and I think it's faster by maybe a second, maybe 2. I'm not sure. I know it's faster. I don't know how much, but the most important part is definitely that RNG elimination.
Yeah, for sure. And since you love data and details, they are 6 letters from the weapon screen apart.
Oh, thank you for that delicious data, because I was explaining, and and whenever I'm going full on explaining mode, I kind of miss some screens. So thanks for that.
We don't even have time to talk anymore. They're just gonna start zipping.
And not. Oh yes, an 8-boy got that.
8-boy got it. Wow.
Oh, but does he have enough for the final one? Oh my God, this is.
Let's hope it's not a half energy.
Yes, he actually had 3 weapon energy instead of 2. So, oh my God, this is huge, guys. This is what I was talking about. Like, he got one of those frame perfect zips, and this is how it pays off. 8-boy taking the lead again. This is crazy race.
It's crazy to say, but this is the biggest lead of the entire race that we've seen, and like, it's not even a lead. We can barely call it a lead.
Like this race is on fire. Like. My brain's still trying to wrap around what just happened because that was just great. Like I'd say HARDselection is about one screen behind, I guess. Yeah. But he's going for the aggressive strats, which 8-boy also could have done because he has 2 energy tanks now. But I think he's still feeling pretty nervous, so I can still understand. So literally 1 screen apart, not. So, oh my God.
I would like to think both players think they're either waiting or on a good pace if they're not looking at each other, because they are near PB pace, both of them.
Yeah,
so it's a really tough call.
Yeah, I never watched race because like it might influence my decisions. So I always just I just go for broke and whatever I'll get, I'll get. I know Andy watches race, and I think that's really cool. Like if you can, like in the moments you're not playing, you can watch. Oh, and that's a very nice Wily 1 fight there. From both players getting some, wow, this just shows how close this is.
Got about half a Wily flight at the top difference.
Oh my God, but HARDselection being already on top of Wily, so this is gonna be okay. Come on, make him turn. Oh yes, and they both get. Oh, this is insane. Like Wily on HARDselection screens, only 2 or 3 picks.
Alright, chat. Who's gonna win? Say it now.
HARDselection is gonna win. I'm gonna just so we can get around 3.
Nailing a lot of double shots. This is crazy.
I can't talk right now. I just. Oh my God! Oh my God! Yeah! Oh! GG guys! Oh my God! That was insane! Oh my God! That's literally a second apart.
Crazyapeboy finished with a 1930, and HARDselection finished with a 1929.
Oh my God! A really
official SRL time of 1 second apart.
Wow, this is literally the closest a race can be. This like I feel so I'm so grateful that I got to watch and comment on this great race, because this is the dream, guys. This is, oh my God.
Yeah, game 3 is only fitting. Like I think if somebody deserved the game 3 shot, it was HARDselection. Like this was a crazy race, and this is not a case where 8-boy didn't race well. This is an incredible time, 1928 or 1930, I guess, SRL time.
Yeah,
both runners just showing what they're made of.
Yeah, it's just, yeah, just wow. Like I saw something similar in the Mega Man 2 NES tournament. I think it was Handsome Jackass and yeah, you saw the race too, right? And they were like the credits were literally like a pixel or 2 apart. Like they had to frame count that match to determine who was the winner. And like that's the craziest thing. Like this year, I've seen that race. There was a Key Sanity Zelda randomizer tournament, which is a really technical and in-depth and long run from like, I think it takes about 2 hours. And those runners finished with 7 seconds apart. So 2018 is the year for video games because all the crazy stuff is happening right now. Like, it's just amazing. Like, you have this hobby playing video games, and it just like it just keeps getting better. Like when it does, like it's the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah, and both runners are really hyped into the chat of SRL, so they're fired up, and we'll be joining game 3 soon enough. But yeah, what these racers are showing is that even though they face Andy, a clear favorite in the next run, like Andy can't make too many mistakes and fall into the 19s, because you know these guys can put up some consistent times, some hard ones. No pun intended with HARDselection.
Yeah, that's definitely true. But like, I think Andy's worst time this tournament was in 1905. So, and that was with 2 deaths, I think, or like with a huge death on Clashman, which is a huge time thing. But I've seen him like get like mid to high 18s fairly consistently. But you're right. Like, there's definitely a chance. Like, if Metal goes bad, if he dies in the wrong places, it might actually not be a one-sided match, and I think that's all the better for the tournament. The less one-sided matches are, the more fun it is. I mean, look at this race. This was amazing.
Yeah, there's no easy ones at this point, and even if you look at people who lost their first match, like they've got some pretty even matchups coming up in the lower brackets. And if I recall, there's the winner of the lower bracket has a chance to squeeze back up into the winner's bracket.
Yeah, at the end of but he will have to win twice against the winner of the winner's bracket, or the last man standing in the winner's bracket. And I don't think we mentioned this before, but this is round 3. The second round 3 match of the winner's bracket, and Andy won against K-Day Mia just yesterday or the day before, and the upcoming matches are, I think, me versus John Carls and
Tremaine and Chrissy, or Chris Kaiser Krister, you might know.
Yeah, Chrissy and Tremaine. So some really crazy matches coming up. And in the loser brackets, I haven't looked, but I know like gradually as the tournament progresses, all the matches will get closer and closer because, the people with the lower personal best, so like in the 24 range, 23 range, they will have dropped out at that point, I think.
So if you're free today at 5 p.m. Eastern, Granite Hero will play Rave Tuba. I will be commentating with Jagger for that one. We've got... I believe Izzy beat Alan Prestel yesterday. That's not updated. But he will play Resisting Frame. And the other one, we got Mr. MKL versus Mellow Flows and Legs versus Charlie Boy. So all of these matches are pretty awesome.
Yeah, and they're like we have another match like later tonight, like you just said. Then tomorrow there's a match, and the day after that's a match. And I think John Calls wants to fight me on Monday, but something came up, so we might have to. So that might happen on Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on my schedule. So right. Yeah, a lot of Mega Man 2 content coming up, and I'm really hyped for this. Like, this is my favorite Game Boy Mega Man because it's the only one I can actually play. Like, this is the easiest of the Mega Man Game Boy games. The other ones all have something that makes them pretty tough, whether it's lag reduction or just like Dr. Wily Revenge and Mega Man 3 are like the hardest of the Game Boys. But this one's really, like, aside from the frame perfect stuff, this game is really pretty easy. Like, everybody can beat this.
And save your voice, Alpus, and grab your snacks and drinks, guys. Game 3 is about to start.
All right, are you ready for round 3?
I think so.
Let's do this.
I know our runners are ready. We've had an incredible show already, and we're already seeing some changes a little bit.
I think this.
Are you getting game sound, or is that just me?
I have the volume for the commentary stream turned off because it distracts me too much.
Okay, we're good.
So I'm not the person to answer that. And like, I think, yeah, okay, the streams are synced. Like, I had a little desync, so HARDselection taking a little, like, taking kind of a lead here. crazyapeboy playing it a little safer on this first gauntlet. I call this a gauntlet because it's one of the fiercest parts of the game.
It's not a bad idea because you can look at his HP now. If HARDselection ends up having to farm, which he just got a RNG drop right there.
Never mind that. But it's still
like, that's what decided game 1, really.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, but I can really understand like going a bit safer in Metal because Metal is just like
Metal is about getting through for sure. But with these players, like it's almost like reality that they have to do it fast because they know the other person is keeping up.
Yeah, and here we saw why crazyapeboy conserved that amount of HP or life energy is because he can do 3 damage boosts in a row. And that allowed him to catch up, and we got this amazing thing going on. Apeboy now only being about half a second behind, even that. Getting in those nice double hits on the jump. and you want to space out your shots so that the shot of Mega Man's Buster is already inside. Wow, that was a really synced boss battle.
We really need
inside
to
Metal
talk
Man.
to Fiesel, making sure you didn't clip the same game twice now for 2 rounds.
So you want to have your next shot already inside him, because unlike in the NES games, I think if the Buster shot's already inside the boss as his invincibility ends, like his new invincibility is triggered. So that's also another unique feature of this game, is that the invincibility isn't the same as in any other Mega Man. I know that you can just, like on regular enemies in Mega Man 2 and NES, you can just rapid fire, like you can really mash. I think in Mega Man 5 and 6 there were some protections, so you can't mash as crazy, but that might have only been on the PAL version, I don't know. But in this game the invincibility for things are weird. It's still really fun, but weird, just different than... Oh, and hard selection, getting hit on that dog, has to use Russian
go
While
right.
HARDboy again gets to go for top wood. Good wood.
This is what happened in game 2. HARDboy went up top and took a small lead, and he kind of kept it up until the very last minute. So we could see very well the exact same thing occur here. So
yeah,
pressure is on hard selection, even though it's just a half a screen. Half a screen is a lot for these 2 players.
yeah, definitely, and it looked really close again, that top wood route. But now I'm thinking like crazyapeboy tested that rigorously, so he knows he can damage boost through the 3rd needle and then just like go through all the 3 needles. So that's I learned something new today about this game, so that's really great.
Yeah, HARDboy has definitely been pushing the game, so have you and other top runners now on the board. So it's really nice to see where the game has gone, even just in a few weeks.
Yeah, and hard selection getting a couple of those outer hitbox hits, which was really nice. And this game, like nobody can slack off anymore because everybody's been pushing it like crazy. And Andy just commented the other day, like, how did this get to be like the most competitive Mega Man Game Boy game on the scene? And it's just because of this great tournament. Like, I'm so grateful to John Carls for hosting this, because like my personal best was like 22 minutes plus, and in a matter of 2 weeks I've been able to grind it out to almost 18 minutes. And it would have never happened if he had not hosted this. This is a great tournament.
So 4 seconds separate our runners, but this stage is a lot easier than its NES counterpart in some ways, but as long as you do everything accordingly, you'll get pretty much the same patterns all the time, which is the case for most of the game. It doesn't have a lot of RNG, we didn't mention it, but there's very little, if any, RNG in this game. Yeah,
I'd say the only RNG is really getting those small drops, and there are only 2 real locations for that, one in this stage and one in arguably Top Man or Needle Man stage for the hard knuckle refill. And those are basically the only RNG, only real RNG, and maybe some enemies deciding whether they're gonna use attack 1 or attack 2. Like that, those are the biggest RNG things in this game, which is great because that means, unlike Mega Man X, which is a lot of RNG, it's actually fairly easier to play consistently or to get more consistent times. And oh, look at this
on the same time, when you make a mistake, it must feel even more frustrating because you know it's your fault. It's not because of RNG or patterns or the game. It's all you.
Yeah, but that's I like that.
You control your own destiny.
I'm still gonna blame Mega Man. Like, I was like, why Mega Man? Why didn't you jump? Like, I'm making the faults, but I always like to blame Mega Man. Gotta blame somebody, right?
So I believe we're 2 seconds apart now. So hard selection made 2 seconds on HARDboy approximately.
Yeah, it was because he fell. HARDboy fell in the final horizontal screen of Airman stage. He fell down and had to go through that squirm generator, and that put his lead back. Like the lead he gained from Woodman, was kind of diminished by that. And here we see players going to use the ladder on the right instead of opting to use rush jets to get to that ladder, because it's a lot easier to do consistently, and the only benefit you'll get from it if you use rush is if you do it perfectly, and it's really hard.
Yeah, so I think hard selection made even more time here with a clean climb and chain sliding. and he grabbed the E-Tank much faster. So there you go.
Oh man, these players gotta be feeling the nerves right now. So
I find they're handling really well. I think game 1 was a bit shaky for HARDselection, but really it was just the farming that threw him back, and maybe that shifted his mental a little bit. But since then, like, it's been like I could go to game 7 for all I care for these guys. Just do it.
Yeah, but that's the thing though. Like I was for my first match, I was super nervous, but John Carls was commentating, and he didn't see like the nerves in my play at all, because it's very like you can still play really tight while being extremely nervous. So I'd say both of these players are still feeling pretty nervous.
Yeah, HARDselection does quite a bit of Mega Man 1 with some friends races every week, so he's got, even though he's a new speedrunner in terms of longevity, he had a chance to experience races and SRL and that before this tournament.
Yeah, so that helps the nerves a bit, I guess.
But you've talked to him before the race, like he seems himself, but I'm sure he's... Yeah, I was doing a run of Mario 2 the other day, a race, and during the last fight, my foot was on my split pedal, and I was shaking so much I thought I would split just from the shaking.
Yeah, I got that too, man. Like I was shaking so bad, I thought I had Parkinson's disease for a moment there, because like that first match, I was like, it was just like yeah, it was insane. But while we were talking, like we saw some incredible Clashman fights again. crazyapeboy catching up or like taking the lead again, because his Clash fight was a little bit cleaner, and it's amazing. Like the chance of dying is still very real at Clashman, and they've aced it 3 times in a row now. So I'm very proud of both of these runners, just for handling Clashman like they did.
So it's not used to saying it anymore. We're having a close race again. This is Magnet stage. Probably one of the difficult stages, I would say, like in the top tier. A lot of damage to be careful, a lot of weapon use you have to watch as well. The metal blades specifically, you don't want to run out. But these players just nailing everything.
Yeah, I kind of feel like we're on repeat here, because we're saying it's a close race so much.
They're not giving us any chance to curse them or do anything. They're just having perfect runs, really.
Yeah, they're such great paces. And here we see some of those trademark Mega Man disappearing blocks, which I think are called Yoku blocks. And they're a little different in this game, as you can jump through them, and they're on a global timer. And these timers don't really sync up. So some of the blocks will have a different appearance rate. So like sometimes you'll be able to make certain jumps on them. We won't see it on this this category, but like I've tested it rigorously, and yeah, the Joku blocks are weird, man. A lot of things on this game are either on a global timer from the stage or from the start of the game. And this also goes for like the moles in Metal Man stage. Like depending on where you are on the screen or where you
Oh no!
Oh my Jesus! And
that was just like a foot death. That was very unfortunate.
Yeah, he still has plenty of metal blade though, so that's good to go. But that's rough. Like, wow.
Yeah, like normally we would say like, yeah, there's still plenty of opportunities, but between these two runners, like an entire fight, that's a significant lead. It'll be hard to make up.
Yeah, Ape Boy has to like
He has to get his mistake of his own.
Thank you. That's what I wanted to say, but did poorly. Yeah, he has to like have a death on a boss, or like a huge setback, or another opportunity for a HARDselection could be the zips. So if Ape Boy gets less zips, and HARDselection gets all of them, that would really give him a fighting chance.
Ape Boy just lost about 2 seconds on the ladder, but HARDselection got hit by the bees, so it kind of evens out there.
Bees.
He rushed Jen on the right side, so he may be feeling the nerves from dying a little bit here. Must feel behind.
Yeah, wow.
So this is a very short stage. I might feel like 8boy is a full stage
About
ahead,
half stage
but
now, I guess.
It's just the stage is so short.
Yeah, and this is also this might be the easiest stage and boss combined, because you can take all the damage and still not die, and that was a very clean fight from 8boy. And the boss is also a 5-hit wonder, so this is the freest, I think, the freest part of the game. Also, because there are no frame perfect zips that you gotta have.
Apparently, you have a Mortal Kombat voice, according to chat.
That's nice. Yeah, I'm actually not reading chat this time because I knew this race was gonna be so hype that I can't be like I can't take that extra distraction. So I apologize for not being able to interact with them. But I like this race is high on my priority list. This is this is what I've been waiting for this entire tournament.
Let's see if 8boy breaks the game properly. So do you want to talk about the hard knuckle? You're pretty good at it.
Yeah, it's oh, and he misses the hard knuckle zip. So that there was a frame perfect zip. If you shoot the hard knuckle at the last frame as Mega Man transitions, you will be able to skip a vertical transition downward. And here we see another. Oh, and he does get the second zip. That is amazing for 8boy. Like, he's on some great pace right now. And those second and third zips are more free as you're on a ladder, which allows positioning for the zip to be much easier. So everybody can learn those ladder zips.
We emphasize that zips are not necessarily good to have a good time, but these players being so close in both talent and times, like, they are.
Selection got it too. Yeah, sorry, you were saying?
I was just saying, like, that's exactly it. Like, every time one of them lands a trick, the other one has to land it too, otherwise it creates this lead that we barely never see. Like, right now, HARDselection missed the cycle of the top platforms, so that will create another 2-3 second gap.
Yeah, and that's actually true. Like, I used to be really bummed out when I got missed the first top man zip, because it loses you 4 seconds, but then I got 1902 without that zip, and I did an additional zip at the wrong place, which might have caused a soft lock. Oh, that might be good to say. So hard knuckle zips in certain places are dangerous, as if there's any horizontal transitioning, there's a chance to soft lock the game, and in case the player would have to reset and have to fill in a password, and hopefully he'll fill in the right password, unlike me, because otherwise that's just the worst. So you have to be careful in what places you should. You kind of have to know where to zip. But I'm the only one who has made that mistake so far, so might not be the biggest deal.
So we're already halfway through the needle stage with 8boy, so both players have about that half a stage difference. Really, the death of the boss is what made the difference here. Yeah, otherwise it would be as tight as race 2, but still, like, there's still a fighting chance. Like, there are still some rough patches ahead. And we can see the importance of the new the LP zip. 8boy only had one hard selection, or one hard knuckle. Like, we all have only one hard selection. And yeah, because of the new zip, you automatically get the large refill that's located at the top right normally. Yeah, and but again, because that's a ladder zip, it's like, as long as you position right, there's never any danger of missing it. Saying that, I still even miss it sometimes because I'm too flaky. I'm all over the place. But yeah, and here we saw like Crazy 8boy just whacking away at Needleman, and HARDselection getting a good pattern does take some extra damage, but still not in the danger zone. Very nice fight from HARDselection there. And here we get Quint, which is the special boss, or the secret boss of this, or the Rockman killer boss from this game. And he's gone already. And basically it's Mega Man from the future, because Wily
use the time skimmer, some kind of time device, to go to the future and steal that time's Mega Man, which apparently no longer had a Buster because violence ended there for some reason. And so now he gave him this magical pogo stick, which is called Sakugarne, which means rock driller or something. And he's the least significant special Game Boy boss there is. Anchor, Ballad, and Punk were all, yeah, they were all challenged, and this guy's just a walk in the park.
I haven't seen any red splits on 8-Boy, so he's either on pace for PB or just about.
That is so nice. So let's see if you can get those Wise hit. Meanwhile, we see those melted clocks from Salvador Dali's artworks.
Yeah, lots of taste for.
Oh! And he gets the
it's the important one.
So that's nice.
And he gets the mandatory one.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's the one you want to get. The other ones are like he did, and I understand why he didn't go for the last frame perfect, because he only had one hard knuckle left, so he had to think about, you know, what's more important, and that's like if you miss that frame perfect zip on the end and don't have a chance to redo it, you would waste about 20 to 22 seconds climbing up and around. And that's just a time sink nobody wants to see ever.
I believe we're only seeing one runner in the tournament to go the long way.
I think yesterday's match, Southern Pretzel did it, because I don't think Southern Pretzel had learned any zips at all, which was a shame, because that actually would have given him a bit more of a fighting chance against Izzy, who ultimately won. Because of that, I think. But those were some really closers too, so that may be too big of a statement to make, but still. And here, oh yes, sorry.
I was just gonna say, 8-Boy's on the road to victory here, unless of a death or a mistake, which we have seen in the tournament. Like, it's very possible to die here.
Yeah, Wily, not the freest boss in the game.
Already through phase 1, meanwhile, HARDselection just going through the boss doors. So this will be a difficult lead to overcome.
Yeah, something really crazy has to happen, no pun intended, to crazy 8-Boy. And he gets like the perfect Wily too. So I'm thinking this race is kind of over. Like depending on this...
Being a full phase behind, it's
yeah,
almost insurmountable.
Insurmountable! That's exactly the word I was going to use. And here we have T-Rex Wily, which flips, and GG's to 8-Boy.
GG boy, SRL time of 1932.
Wow, that's two mid-19s in a row. That's just, or was the first match also? I can't even remember.
I believe it was a low 20 in race 1 or something, but...
Wow, like I think those were 3 sub-20s in a row. Showing some, like, he's like a fierce competitor. And GG's to HARDselection, also finishing with sub-20 there.
Official SRL time of 1957, so a 23 seconds difference, but he took one of the hardest deaths I think he could have taken, unfortunately.
Wow, just wow.
Yeah, so we got a 2-1 victory from crazyapeboy, which has a date with Andy. And
yeah,
8-Boy has proven that he's ready. If Andy's not ready, he's ready.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and see if I can add Crazy 8-Boy to the Discord so we can do some post-race interviews with these guys, because I think they're very warranted.
I hope you all enjoyed the race. I thought that was great. If you want to grab a drink or something while we get them for interviews, go right ahead.
Yeah, what a race. Like, wow, even with that death on Needleman, like, you see, HARDselection still put up such a great fight. Okay, I think I have both the runners in the commentary, so I'm gonna pull them in now. Yo, GG, Crazy Ape Boy, GG hard selection. Wow, those were some insane races. How do you guys
I need
feel
to lie
about
down.
this?
I need to lie down right now.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I needed that.
Yeah, GG's, man. I think it came down to consistency, and you're just rock solid consistent, and I crumbled in round 3.
Man. Yeah, like I got lucky that you took that death in Magnet Man stage. If not,
Yeah, I got the Achilles heel. I hit that ankle.
And Max here, first GG to you guys as well. I want to ask, like, do any of you guys watch the stream of the other player? Because Elpis and I were talking about that. Like, it felt like you guys were going all out. I don't know if you knew how close the race was the entire time.
Yeah, like I was watching hard selection, but I had a pretty huge delay, so I could only try to count the difference. But yeah, I knew it was very close in the second race.
Yeah, for me, I usually check the speed gaming channel like during the cutscene. So like before Magnet starts and like the Wily cutscene, I usually check. So I looked right in round 2 and 3 that we were like literally synced up going into the clash fight, and I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, at some point I was counting the letters of the weapon screen difference between you guys. Like, oh, there's 5 letters.
Yeah, and honestly, like I think that, like knowing that going into round 3 was, or especially knowing how close the end of round 2 was, I felt like every little thing that, like a missed ladder grab, or like, not even like a missed zip, which is like a bigger thing, but like, even though I knew it could potentially come down to just like a minute little mistake, given how close we were to each other. So that was like so much more pressure. I felt like the pressure was on for sure.
Yeah, just like you guys finished with 1 second difference. That's the closest match I've seen this year, and I've seen some really like in Mega Man 2, Nestor also like within 1 second range. Like, and it's just insane. Like, you're both such great players, and pulling off these great times in a race is just, I'm very impressed.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, Crazy Boy, what, you had 3 sub-20s? That's pretty awesome, man.
Yeah, I think so. I don't even remember the times from the first match.
Yes, I know. It's all
good.
good.
1940, 1930, and then 1928.
Yeah, rock solid consistency right there, man.
You're gonna give me a run for my money if I have to face you, Crazy Ape Boy. Yeah, and you too, hard selection. If I have to face either one of you, I have to pull out all the stops because you guys are nuts.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was mentioning it. Ape Boy, we kind of expected in a way with how like you already had that pedigree coming into the tournament that you were like a top 5 player, but hard selection came as a surprise, took out Mr. MKL, which had great runs. It had nothing to do with how bad his run was. It was just how good hard selections runs with.
Yeah.
And coming into today and up until the last minute, we didn't know if who was going to win. Like, it's just crazy.
Mr. MKL, the thing I think decided the match for hard selection, aside from that hard selection played on point, was also that Mr. MKL was using pretty old strats. So combined with the new strats and just hard selections, incredible race PB the other day. I think you got pretty close to your race PB today too, hard selection.
Yeah, I think I had a 1930 in round 2, so I was only like 10 seconds behind or something. So I was pretty happy about that.
8 seconds away from your PB, and to get that in a race is just stellar, man. It's just amazing.
Yeah, I think for me too, I think the match with Mr. MKL and Crazy Ape Boy, it's been kind of a whirlwind learning this game. I think it really did come down to consistency, because like Mr. MKL, he's using older strats, but he's rock consistent too. He's just solid as rock, playing, very consistent. Crazy Ape Boy, very consistent. So I think I had a couple of Hail Mary passes, but I think consistency won out in the end in this round.
Yeah, I think you should do some more no reset training, because I was watching Crazy Ape Boy the other day do some no reset training, and before the race started, I already made a comment on this. I think Crazy Ape Boy is going to win. It's not going to be like a huge win, but I think he's going to win just because I saw like his no reset grind and the consistency he had built up.
Yeah, and, totally. I agree. Yeah, I was watching his stream too, and I was like, uh-oh. But yeah, I think for me, I think I spent too much time trying to work in some last minute strats. Like I was learning the top wood route, and I was trying to learn better clash fight. I think instead I should have, in hindsight, probably should have just focused more on consistency, no reset run training, rather than trying to work in these new strats at the last second.
Yeah, that's probably true. Also, there were some like now we're talking about wood. You had some unfortunate damage from the dog, making it impossible or very hard to gain any time from top wood. So understandably, you chose to go for Rush Marine. But crazyapeboy, your top wood was insane. Like the first time you did the top wood route and you took that damage from that third to last needle and you just barely made it out. My heart stopped there, man. Wow.
Yeah, I thought I had to go all in. That was the only chance I had, so I took every risk, or most of the risks.
I do have a question for you, apeboy. I mean, now that you've won, you've got a date with Andy in the next round. I don't know if you should have lost, because that sounds like just a pit for bad news. How do you think you're going to approach this match? Obviously, you're the underdog for the first time in this tournament, so you haven't been in that position yet. How do you prepare for something like this?
Oh well, I guess I'm just looking forward to enter the losers bracket. But yeah, I don't know. I have to get some new strats, push my SOB down, and get some. Yeah, that's all I can do to try to prepare for that, because Andy has some insane no reset times. So yeah, I gotta hope he has a very bad day when we face each other.
Yeah. And if in the event that you would lose that match, it means you would also go back to the lower brackets, which we might have a chance to see you two face each other again in the later rounds. So who knows?
Wow, I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah, we're gonna have some nice matchups no matter what happens. So yeah, this has been a blast so far, and I'm expecting it to keep going strong.
For you, HARDselection, I mean, there's a little bit of a break here. You got to wait 2 matches. Like later today, Grand and Hero will play Rave Tuba, and the winner of that will play Infinite Mystery, and the winner of that will play you. What do you plan on doing to kind of stay fresh, so to speak? Because we obviously training and then racing is a complete different thing. So not racing for a while, how do you plan to grind a whole lot, take a break? What's up for you?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think, similar to what I was saying before about preparing for this, I wish I'd done more, reset training. So I'll probably, kind of try to do as much of that as I can, just kind of focus on no reset streams. Depending on how much downtime I have, maybe I'll, go back to trying to master the top route in wood. But yeah, probably a lot of no reset training. The other good part too is that, I do race every week. Mega Man 1, we do a glitchless race every Wednesday night. So, at least I'll get some race stress practice in via that. And yeah, if anyone in the tournament wants to have a, kind of a casual race, over the next couple of weeks, then, I'm definitely down for that too.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear that. So I just looked at the brackets, kind of in the future. So if it would draw out, HARDselection could play against apeboy in the finals, and it would be between apeboy and Elpis or John Carls or one of those guys that might, or possibly Tremaine, one of those really top tier runners as well that will end up in the end. So the losers bracket doesn't mean that there's bad players. It just means you lost one match, but you still can carry through and actually make your way up into the winners again, because the winner of losers, just as a reminder, gets to go back up and face the top players a winner.
Yeah, that's something really nice about double elimination. It's not just you play one match and your tournament's over. Now you get another fighting chance, and I think that's way more fun than just single elimination. So crazyapeboy, HARDselection, do you have some closing thoughts you want to share about the race today?
Man, I would just say that great race, crazyapeboy. I'd say forcing a third round was I can't complain about that at all. So, but yeah, GG, man, and look forward to racing against you again.
Yeah, man. Thank you for that race, and GG. That was super fun. I'm looking so forward to watch the VOD of that race. It's gonna be awesome.
And everyone, make sure to follow the runners. They've been great. Make sure you stay tuned to Speed Gaming 1 through 5 and the one without a digit. There's a whole bunch. Follow all of them. And make sure you come back here for 5 p.m. Eastern. We're going to have Brave Tuba versus Granite Hero for some more Mega Man 2 action.
Cool, yeah. Thanks you guys for the commentary. I really appreciate it. It's really awesome to see how much you guys are, everyone's always volunteering for commentary. And of course, thanks to John Carlos putting this together. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, like commentary is like you get to watch the race and you get to talk about it at the same time. It's so much fun to do. I think I might even like it a little more than racing because it's a little more laid back. But yeah, I want to thank John Carlos for organizing this tournament, Speed Gaming, like Fiesel, Cyclone, all the people who are working behind the scenes to make this happen. Like we really appreciate that our little, this is a pretty obscure game. And that it got on the main Speed Gaming and Speed Gaming 2 and 3, that we get this exposure, just amazing. So thanks a lot. And I think that means we can close up. Do you have anything left to say, Mannix?
No, let's just wrap it up. I wish everybody a good day, and thanks for watching. Stay tuned.
Yeah, and there's a match at 5 p.m. EDT. There's the next match in this tournament. So yeah, and bye everybody.